This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other.
Welcome everybody to Wednesday War Games episode number 45. Joining me as always is my lovely co-host Liam, and we're here to talk about 2 wrestling shows and a pay-per-view. It's like we're deliberately late this week so we can talk about a pay-per-view. We're very professional. We're doing it the right way, I think, probably, maybe. Liam, how are you?
We did it on purpose, we swear. Good.
Well, you see, we were. I was originally going to record on, was it Thursday or Friday? And you were like, no. I'm like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. And then you were like, my internet's dead. And then it's like, there's no point getting this show up 2 hours before All Out. So we'll just do it on Sunday and include All Out. And also probably better numbers that way. So It's a cynical ploy to boost numbers by covering All Out.
So we can, translate those numbers directly into profit.
Yes, podcast listens equals money.
Use that profit to purchase items and services that we enjoy.
In Marvel's Avengers.
I'm not going to play that game.
Listen, it's as I was talking to you about before the show, it's tricked me into thinking it's good, and now it's suddenly become a Destiny, and I'm upset.
Avengisty.
Stop making Destinies. Make good games.
People like Destinies. The Big Show likes Destiny. Big Destiny guy.
You like Destiny. You made me play Destiny for a while.
Whoa. Don't chuck in, I liked it. I played it because we were looking for a game to play together.
You're like, Garrett, download Destiny. Play Destiny with me. And I was like, there's that one good song from Destiny that I now have on a Spotify playlist, which is The Farm. And I'm like, that's the degree to which I enjoy Destiny. It's like, that's a good song.
The Farm is also probably the best level design in the game. And it's just a hub.
Yeah. Hubs are... I don't usually like hubs, but still, yeah, Avengers has tricked me. I'm very tired. I was very upset when my alarm went off, because, All Out was a very long show, an unnecessary long show, some would say, before we actually talk about it. So, it finished at my time around 5, which means I fell asleep a little after 6, and now it's 12, and when my alarm went off, I'm like, oh.
So, my experience with the length was just it was in the main event, and I'm just like, alright guys, I want to go fucking have breakfast now at some point.
Wasn't it 2 o'clock in the day?
Yeah, but it started at 10.
That's true, it's a very long... I didn't watch the pre-show though, so...
It started at 9 with the pre-show.
Oh, so every week we talk about AEW Dynamite, WWE NXT. Last week the AEW one, so this week we will cover AEW Dynamite, All Out, and then NXT. I have outlined it so Liam doesn't get confused.
I was gonna say, shouldn't we go in order, because one was a day earlier, and then we just go chronologically, because then we're gonna go from the second to the first.
No,
to the the 9th, the 6th, whatever it is.
It doesn't matter what date these shows are, but we would abandon our podcast concept doing that, Liam. AEW won fair and square last week. It has earned the right to be covered first.
Why did you chuck a pause in there? Was it for emphasis?
I always do emphasis. I'm a podcast professional.
Are you okay? You're a bit down in the dumps today.
It's too early in the morning. I haven't had enough sleep.
To be fair, you're the one who selected this time. You picked a time that was way earlier than normal.
That's true. It's because I have multiple podcast commitments today. So when I'm done with you, I'll be doing my Magic by Design podcast with my brother, where we will be talking about the Jungle Book, which you can find at magicbydesign.buzzsprout.com. There we go. Ken will be very happy I plugged it. Ken also listens, to be fair. So,
oh no,
Ken will be very happy. So that's the reason I had to pull you in earlier. I suggested even a time even earlier than this, so Ken can edit the podcast, because Ken takes 7 hours to edit a 40-minute podcast, and it's very strange.
Cam, get owned, Ken.
Yeah, he has attention to detail though, so he wants to make it good. And
unlike this podcast,
hey, I take an hour and a half editing this damn thing every week. I have to listen to you Like most weeks, I finish the podcast where I have to listen to you for an hour, and then I have to listen to you for another hour and a half immediately after. Say the things I heard you just say again while I edit it.
Yeah, but I'm very interesting, to be fair.
You are engaging and charismatic.
Windows continues to add Microsoft Edge to my taskbar every time I open it, and I really want to say stop doing that.
Why don't you just start using Microsoft Edge?
Why would I ever use Microsoft Edge?
You think you know it. You'll never know it. Yeah, AEW this week, Wednesday, opened with, what did it open with? Oh, Santana and Ortiz against Chuck Taylor and, the other guy? Trent. There we go. They had a match that I got upset by.
Oh yeah? Why did you get upset by this match?
Because it was like a tease of the Good Plunder match they were meant to have at the pay-per-view and didn't.
Well, you can't really say meant.
It meant. I'm thinking about meant.
That they should have had.
They should have had this match. And it wasn't even. They only did some of the Plunder because this was a regular match, and then LAX won. It was a good match, enjoyable match. I just wanted their big Plunder. Trent's a good Plunder guy. Do this match pay-per-view Plunder. Actually, they should have done this match last week. The finish should have set up a street fight or something for the pay-per-view, and then you do it on the pay-per-view, getting rid of that dumb battle royal. They should have dumped the battle royal and just done this match.
Battle royal was like my favorite thing on the show.
Battle royal,
because at least it was fun.
Done. Nothing happened.
Like, no, I liked the battle royal, but it was just because like there was things happening on my screen that that wouldn't make me like. My eyes weren't drifting to my phone during the battle royal, at least. Because I was like, oh, there's a countdown. Ooh, noises. Ooh, there's a few entrances. There's a bit of pizzazz here.
It stimulated the primal instincts in your brain with some
It
bright
stimulated
lights and
the points in my brain that are like, this is everything that you like about wrestling, man. It's just the entrances. It's all you want. The entrances, the heel turns, and the title wins. That's all you care about. And it's like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, this match upset me because it should have been a pay-per-view match. But a good match. It was an enjoyable match.
Well, and it wasn't 15 minutes long.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in All Out.
Well, that's not just an all-out complaint. That's a AEW complaint.
Yeah, pretty much, except for this match, which was 7 minutes long. But pretty much every match in the history of AEW has been, I want to say, it's nearly every match has been about 20% too long.
I would I've said before that every match should be at least 2 minutes shorter than it actually is, especially Young Bucks matches, which I think always go over their time. Maybe not their allocated time, because I'm sure they allocate their own time. But it's just all these AEW matches, even on Dynamite, it'll get to a natural peak, and I'm like, yeah, this is where it's going to end, and then it's just another kick out. Let's do 2 minutes worth of more moves, and it's like, please, just let us go. I know that this is the workers' company.
It is always that match layout where it's like, heat, comeback, big closing stretch, big move, kick out, and then another just 2 minutes of closing stretch. It's like, no, the big move, kick out was the finish, guys. Just stop it and go home.
It's like, just do it there. It's fine.
Everyone will think you had a good match.
You probably would have had a better match had you just peaked it there.
It's usually the case. It's just like, go home. Go home.
But just yelling at a fictional match now.
Yeah, the imaginary concept of a Young Bucks match we're giving out about. Even though the best team of all time.
Yeah.
MJF got a promo. He was mad at his lawyer. He was bullying him, sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah. Christopher, the Luchasaurus, the other guy. I'm good with names. It's too early for me to remember Jungle Boy's name. And the Young Bucks defeated
Lucha Boy, Junglesaurus.
The Lucha Express, as our good friends Jim Ross called them, I think multiple times. I can't give out. I just forgot two people's names. I am the Jim Ross of this podcast. Oh,
I know.
It was inevitable.
I'm the Mauro Ranallo.
We have become the Judas in our minds. The Young Bucks and the Jurassic Express defeated SCU, a private party, so that the Young Bucks and the Jurassic Express will face each other on All Out. This was a good match. This was probably better than the All Out match, maybe?
No.
Alright.
It was, I didn't really care. This match here, I didn't give a shit about because I didn't care about either of the possible matches that could be on All Out.
You
because
weren't
there was no
excited
stakes.
about SCU against Private Party potentially happening on AEW's equivalent of WrestleMania on the 3 days' notice?
No, I wasn't actually.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then the match happened on All Out, and it was pretty good. But it's like, I don't know. Am I wrong for expecting more? Am I wrong for wanting more?
No, that's the reason I did that rant last week. Was it last week? One of the weeks about not expecting less after that sick Brody Lee Cody angle, because that's what this company can be, and not just throw at Young Bucks matches on the pay-per-view on 3 days' notice because we're like, we didn't build anything for the Young Bucks. How do you not build anything for the Young Bucks?
Well, the thing is, like, if you want to do Bucks, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, just to have them on the card, like, you had 2 weeks, like, after this, doing an angle backstage, where they're like, you already had a story there because you had the Kenny and Marco stuff that you could have played off. You could have just had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy be like, hey, I'm not a fan of what your friend did to my friend. We're going to have a problem. Like, there's a story already there, and you just chose to ignore it so you could just do a match to have a match.
Yeah.
Like, just like a second of critical thought.
No, they're just going to throw it on the show. Who cares?
But, like, I think I didn't even realize that till we started talking about it. There was a natural story for that match to have, and you could have just used it.
They just want to do a match, and they don't want to think about getting you to care about that match. So, who cares?
That being said, that match on All Out was probably, like, the best match.
It was the best match of the show,
so,
yes. But still... But like, it's not like it's because it's a Young Bucks match, you know? If you got me to care about it, it would have been an even better match.
Yeah, maybe just having that little bit of aggression between the two teams would have knocked it up into, like, something even better.
Kenny Hangman Page and FTR were in the ring. FTR, I don't get why FTR did what they did in this segment, where they were like, ha ha ha, we fooled you, Hangman Page, you're an idiot, we hate you.
You think you'd wait to do that at the pay-per-view?
Yeah, you've manipulated him. Why have you played your hand 3 days before the pay-per-view?
Is it just me, or did it come out of nowhere too? It's like the week before they were pals with him, and then they're like, haha, fuck you, we tricked you. And it's like, oh, is that what... I had no inkling that was where this story was going at all.
It's like, I guess you could say, oh, their end goal was they tricked Hangman into helping them become number one contender, so they don't need Hangman anymore. But there's a title match in 3 days. Trick him into turning on Kenny and winning the belts. He's clearly an anxious millennial who's very gullible and easily tricked.
Anxious millennial cowboy.
Yes, aren't we all anxious millennial cowboys at heart?
On a steel horse we ride. Wanted, dead or alive.
If people were talking about how good all this FTR stuff was building to this show, and I'm like...
What? No, that's not true. I don't believe you. I didn't see a single person say anything. I didn't see them say anything, let alone rave about it.
I saw people raving about this.
Half of the program, half of the match have done the nuanced tag feud before. It was literally the pay-per-view before this. Or the pay-per-view before that, because it's hard with Double or Nothing, because does that really count at this point?
No.
At Revolution, they did this and it was better.
Yeah. This stuff, it sucks. It sucks. Jericho enters his interview by Orange Cassidy, or by Alex Marvez, and he's talking about Orange Cassidy. I will get no names right on this episode of this podcast. It's fine. Don't worry about it. He's mad at Orange Cassidy. He's going to beat him up. I think AEW should do more of these style of promos, just straight to camera in front of a set. I like that style of promo. I think it's a good format for a promo, and they don't do enough of them.
Well, it's good if you actually let the people holding the microphone have a bit of personality. Like, that's the problem with
Alex Marvez.
Oh no, I've been completely indifferent to Alex Marvez. I don't have a thought about him, good nor bad. I just think it's like, I don't know, you have someone out there who can provide a bit of, like, that's why Renee was so good. because she was like the one who was allowed to actually have a bit of something. They for some reason liked her enough to be like, hey, you don't have to just be robot woman.
You don't have to just say, my guest at this time, and disappear. It has to be an actual interview. You know, if he says something ridiculous or says something that's out there, he has to be pushed back on and challenged, because then that makes it more interesting, and it gives him something to react to.
Also, like, if you're gonna do the whole, I'm just gonna talk and ignore you, you might as well just be in the ring with the microphone doing that exact same segment.
Or just cut to, like, literally facing the camera backstage. Chris Jericho squashed Joey Janela. Codebreaker didn't look cool, otherwise this was a completely nothing match.
The match is whatever, but, like, the thing with Janela, it's like, this could have been a really, really cool match had they done anything with Janela since, like, the Mox and Kenny stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like he was going to be one of these upper mid-card kind of guys, like, with Hangman and MJF and stuff. And then it's like, while those two went up, he went bottomed.
Yeah, they completely gave up on him. Like, they completely gave up on him. And, like, as you said, he felt like he was in that, like, build him to the future group with the likes of Darby and the likes of MJF. And now he's a complete nerd on this show. Like, nobody is pushing him. He's not remotely meant to be cared about. Jericho completely squashed him. Like, completely squashed them.
I do think it's interesting looking at the AEW roster now and seeing, like, which of the guys at the start that they tried to push that went down and which people went up. Like, obviously, I'd say your Darbys, your MJFs, your Hangmans are your successors, while your Kip Sabians, who got a big push at the start, and your Joey Janellas have gone way down. It's just an interesting, and like to see who has come in and replaced that. Like, I'd say that Ricky Starks has come in and completely overshadowed both of those guys now, and he's kind of replaced them in that demo now.
Until they give up on him too.
Well, and I think Ricky's going to do pretty good for himself. He's in a group and such, so.
Where he can take pinfalls for Brian Cage.
Yeah, well, someone's. Darby took pinfalls for Mox.
Well, yeah, no, they weren't friends. Darby takes pinfall. Darby never wins. Darby always loses.
That's how you get someone over.
After the match, they beat down Janela. Orange tried to make the save. They beat down Orange too. There you go. Pay-per-view build.
Ooh.
We had the Battle Royal build. Everyone came out, they cut a promo. The best of which was obviously Eddie Kingston, and everyone else is just there. I suppose Taz was alright, but Taz didn't really say anything.
I just want to watch Eddie Kingston talk forever.
He is a good promo. He can talk. This is a shocking development.
And oh yeah, who could have known? And with Jake Roberts, I need that man to never get a mic in the ring ever again.
He is certainly a wild card.
Leave him. The pre-tape's completely fine because he still has delivery, but it's like as soon as he starts chucking in ad-libs, I get a crawl down my spine and I start to worry, and I'm like, what's he going to say? He's going to say something. This is going to go bad. He's going to get cancelled. I'm just worried. I'm very worried for Jake Roberts that he's going to say something and not know what it means, and it's just going to go very bad. So I just keep him backstage, and plus the thing is, Lance can talk. Have him talk for himself.
Like he's just worse. You know, he is actively worse when he's cutting a live promo. Like, it's not even the wild card element. It's just like his delivery is worse. He loses his train of thought more.
Like the pre-tapes though, with like him and Lance under the bridge and backstage beating up all the dudes, that stuff's cool.
Yeah, do more of that. Produce Jake Roberts. Don't just let him out there with a mic.
And less fake snakes.
Do you not like Do you not like? No, I'm not even going to ask you. Do you not like the snake? I hate the snake. Just dump the snake. Just let him cut promos for frickin' Lance Archer.
He doesn't need a literal snake anymore. Like, you just have him be a fucking weirdo, man. Who has a big monster that he's trying to get paid, late, and made, baby.
Yeah, and they also did the snake angle. It's like, what are you going to do? Just do the snake angle again? Just stop it with the snake. Just get rid of the snake. Then they had a terrible brawl. A really awful brawl.
All the nerds jumped in. It's funny.
Nothing happened. And then they brawled right through the commercial break. They came back the other side. And I was like, oh, they're going to do a big angle at the end? It's like, then they brawled for like another minute. And it's like, to the back. It's like, what?
There's a really easy thing to do here too, which is just have all the nerds jump in, have the real guys like peter out, and then just have Lance and Brian lay everyone out and stare down.
Yeah, they didn't do an angle. They just like go in there, brawl through the break, brawl some more, then it's over. It's like, what was the point of this? What are we doing?
I can almost bet like the entirety of the preparation for this segment was just them go, all right, everyone comes out, talks, and then all the nerds jump in and they all fight, and we'll come back on that, and then we'll cut to the back. It's like, okay, so you didn't... There was no planning for an actual thing to happen. It was just go in there and you all fuck around. And we'll record it. It's just smoz.
On like the media call this week, Tony Khan was like, I think about go-home shows differently. It's about selling the pay-per-view. It's like, you sure didn't do a great job of it here, TK.
Also, that's exactly what everyone should be thinking about go-home shows.
It's been the way people think about them forever.
Why is that a different thing to think about?
I think it's like the way he balances wrestling and angles on the show, that he's more concerned about pushing angles to sell the pay-per-view.
I don't mind that either.
Terrible go-home show, so... No, neither way. That's the way this should work. Get me excited for that goddamn pay-per-view. I'm watching this 2 hours of television being like, I'm going to order this show on Sunday regardless. Well, one, because we have to cover it, but it's also wrestling, so I'm going to order all out. So, like, I want to be excited for it. So when I sit down and watch the 2 hours of go-home television, I want to be coming out of it pumped up for that pay-per-view. And I came out of this one being like, oh... this pay-per-view is just such a non-priority in this company for... I don't even know why, because it's one of their four giant pay-per-views a year. So it's in theory the equivalent of WrestleMania. It's the genesis of AEW All Out, coming from All In, and it's like, why aren't you trying? Why don't you seem to be trying?
It's very weird, and it's funny. It's like they say, like I think about these go home shows differently. I think. You know what was a really good go-home show? The one that had Kenny Omega and Park wrestle for 30 minutes. You know what wasn't a very good go-home show? The one that had just everyone cut promos and beat each other up. It's like, you can do it. You can do it either way. Like, you just need to make it good. You just need to have a bit more than just nothing to present to people.
Just try. That's all I want. I just want them to try. And they clearly did not try on this show. NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa defeated Serena Deeb of the Straight Edge Society. They both making their AEW in-ring debut. Nice little match.
It was nice to see Serena Deeb.
Yes, people may remember Serena Deeb from teaming with James Storm against Magnus and Mickie James when James Storm pushed Mickie James in front of a train. These are all the important angles in Serena Deeb's career. I forgot what she was with WWE. Because she was a trainer, wasn't she? Because she did the Mae Young Classic and then was signed as a trainer, I believe. That was, and then released after a while. I think that was it. So, if she was in NXT, I don't remember.
She wasn't like on screen talent, no. I just remember she, Adam Cole seduced her and brought her to the alcohol, and that's when CM Punk saved her. So clearly, the NXT AEW war seeds were sown from the very beginning.
Good little match. Hopefully we see more of Serena Deeb in the future. I'm not sure will we see more of Thunder Rosa in the future. She's obviously an NWA wrestler. So far as I don't know what being an NWA wrestler means these days, because they don't actually do anything, but she is an NWA contracted wrestler. But yeah, good match. Build up Thunder Rosa for the pay-per-view. People were like, she should have squashed her, and I'm like, for a couple of reasons I disagree. I think, one, we need to get people getting used to women actually wrestling on this television show. But also, in theory, Thunder Rosa is going to be gone after the show, and you might have Serena Deeb in the long run. So don't squash her. So fair enough, the job of Deeb here was to put over Thunder Rosa and make her look good. But in the future, like Serena Deeb is available to AEW as a long-term talent if they want, I would imagine, if she wants to sign a contract. I don't know what her personal thing if he wants to sign a contract or not, but I would imagine she's available to AEW long-term, whereas Thunder Rosa may not be, so you don't want to just kill her.
Yeah, exactly. And but that being said, I hope both of these women stick around. I think Serena would be a good tentpole for the division, you know. There's a lot of younger female talent on the roster that could probably use a veteran hand helping them out. And I hope Thunder Rosa returns because she's like the second most TV ready female that they have now.
Mostly because she had the chance to actually perform on TV.
That is true. Yeah, that does help. I miss Rio.
Swole said that she's going to do a tooth and nail match. Well, actually, I don't think she said the name of the stipulation. She's going to fight Britt and Reba in a dental office at All Out, which was later, I think, revealed to be a tooth and nail match.
Where does the nail come from, though?
I don't know. I guess it's like they're fighting tooth and nail, and then they're just like...
Yeah, it's a pun, but it's like... Clearly, Big Swole should have just attacked Britt with a nail.
Driven a nail gun into Reba's skull.
Well, they almost used the drill, so...
They did almost use a drill and all that, so this would be consistent. John Moxley defeated Mark Sterling in just an abhorrently long match. I was like, why was this... This match started well, because Mark Sterling jawed up to Mox. Mox slapped him. And then he should have paradigm shifted him and pinned him. But no, they just went on for another 5 minutes of just Mox kind of bullying the lawyer. I'm like, just end it. Why is this so long?
Yeah, like, I get if you want to get over, like, Mox's taking out some, like, aggression on the lawyer or whatever, but then they didn't tell that at all. Like, they just had Mox be, like, jokey about it. Like, he wasn't serious about it at all. If he had to come in there, slapped him, and then, like, beat the shit out of him for 5 minutes and made it, like, kind of like, look what I'm doing, I'm going to do this to MJF later, like, that would be kind of cool, but they just had him be kind of a dickhead.
Yeah, he did. Like, you almost feel sympathy for Mark Sterling. He just kept on beating on him. It's just like, pin him, just beat him, leave him alone. This poor guy's being bullied by MJF too.
Plus, he had JR on commentary calling him a mark. It was a bad night for Mark Sterling.
Yeah, but then Wardlow showed up and he killed John Moxley.
Yeah, it should be Wardlow Moxley.
Yeah. Maybe they'll go in that direction. Well, actually, it looks like after All Out, they might actually be they might be moving toward Wardlow and MJF, but we'll see.
Yeah, but they're probably going to put MJF over, and that's the wrong decision.
That would be, like, legitimately, if they put MJF over Wardlow, that's one of the worst decisions AEW would have. And this isn't like my usual just anti-MJF stuff. That would be such a bad decision to put MJF over Wardlow, but we'll see if they do that. Then Wardlow hit him with the F10, I think twice, and then MJF beat him up, he bloodied him, and MJF is suddenly serious for 2 minutes in the build to this pay-per-view. This undefeated challenger, this guy who's the future of the company, the blue chip athlete, has been a goof cartoon character doing cartoons, walking around in a neck brace trying to get finishers banned, getting his ass kicked for 6 weeks, and then the last 2 minutes they're like, no, take him seriously, please.
Yeah, okay, so, you know, I was, like, pretty on board with all this MJF stuff until this segment happened, and then it reminded me, yeah, why the fuck were we doing all this stupid comedy shit? Like, I was like, oh, wait, no, MJF could just have a cool, heated build to fight Moxley. Why are we doing this? Like, so, almost if they had just gone full comedy, like, comedy heel, chicken shit heel, shtick for the whole, like, thing, it would have been fine, because I would have been like, yeah, that's the feud. But because you showed me a little bit of some actual meat and potatoes on this motherfucker, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what it could be.
Like, the really weird thing for me is like MJF has never been less of a threat than when they suddenly put him into a match against Jon Moxley and he became a sniveling coward. Like MJF,
He was a bigger threat against Cody.
yeah, MJF, like he'd cheat, he'd use his ring, but he'd never be like he's the usual WWE heel. Where it's like, I don't want to wrestle, I want to avoid having a match. I'm not good. You're much better than me. I'm scared of you. He'd never do that shit.
But to be fair, he did kind of do that with Cody.
Well, he dodged doing the match until he could abuse, but he did that to manipulate and abuse Cody, not to kind of avoid him.
Yeah, it was, and it wasn't as sticky. Like, it came across as him doing it more to fuck with people than to actually try and get out of a match with Cody.
Well, you got the impression he was, and he was doing it like he was trying to weaken Cody in smart ways by whipping the hell out of him and having him have a cage match with Wardlow. Like, that makes sense. He's wearing down Cody. If it's this crap, it's like, your DDT is scary.
Which, to be fair, it's pretty scary.
And like the thing, and someone, I can't remember who pointed this out to me on Twitter, but like Mox won the match at a Double or Nothing against Brody Lee with his sleeper. It's like, why are we doing the I'm scared of your DDT thing when Mox won his title match against Brody? He choked out Brody.
He tapped out Brian Cage.
This is stupid.
Like his last 2 title matches.
He didn't win with their.
Didn't he choke out Swagger?
I don't even. I blocked that match from my memory.
So he might legitimately have not used the DDT to win in his last 3 title matches.
Against big giant monsters, all 3 of them. And MJF is here.
That's pretty funny, to be fair.
And then MJF is like, I'm scared of your DDT.
I really want that to be true, and even if it isn't, I'm now gonna like run with it.
But like that's the lack of attention to detail in AEW stories. It's like, why are you so scared of this move when he wins the matches with the other move? That's AEW Dynamite, Liam.
Yeah, that was AEW Dynamite. One of those things where it's like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a bad show because I wasn't like not having fun watching it. I just wouldn't call it a good show either. Just meh.
Like, on the substance of the content, I would call it an okay episode of television. As a go-home show for a major pay-per-view, I thought it was terrible. Like, really terrible. Yeah. Like, this show did literally nothing to get me excited for All Out. I'm just like, alright, the show's just Saturday, I guess. Okay.
It didn't achieve the purpose that it set out to achieve at the start of the show.
Especially given TK and his deep thinking about the way go-home shows should be.
Man, I like TK, but he's making it real difficult.
I don't know. I think he's increased. Like, those calls are increasingly becoming like Triple H's, where you're like, oh, he's just gonna spew bullshit for a while. Cool.
I think the thing is, I'd rather it not be him. Mm-hmm. I like the post pay-per-view scrums that they do with like Mox after he defends the belt and Sheeta. I like those ones. The TK ones are cool from like, you know, a smarky, have a look at, well, what's TK thinking perspective. But for story reasons, you don't really need to have those at all.
I don't think he ever says anything particularly interesting from like the smarky, what's TK thinking?
Well, he used to. I'm saying more from like, you know, the first Double or Nothing or the first All Out when like AEW was still new and we're like, what's going on? Like, they were really interesting then. Now I don't think we really need them as much. Like, we just have someone go, hey, what about Brock Lesnar? And it's like, I can't talk about it. All right, cool.
That brings us to All Elite Wrestling All Out, which was last night, which was my hot take about All Out. People were like, this wasn't a very good show, and I don't think it was a very good show. But my hot take is All Out not being a very good show is a consequence. It's this has been a build-up over the summer from like mediocre storytelling and really relatively weak creative has led us to this mediocre All Out show. And people are like, where did this come from? It's like, this has come from, it's been shaky. It's been shaky for the summer.
Yeah, this pay-per-view was a pretty apt reflection of what TV has been recently. And it's like, I guess what makes, like, AEW as a company still has a lot of goodwill with me. So I'm willing to let these, like, kind of meh shows go. but with every meh show that goes, that goodwill dwindles just a little percentage, and eventually that will catch up. Because eventually there's going to be more meh than good. But when the good happens, it's so high that you're just like, yes, this is what this company is, and you just kind of forget about it for a second.
I think it's AEW is like a Jekyll and Hyde company, where like they're good, and then they slip, and I think they move toward their like North Star, which is shtick and comedy and crap. Which comes from Jericho, it comes from being the Elite. So it's pulled toward that to usually a breaking point, and people are like, "Hey, stop it!" And like then usually they do stop it. Then they're like, "Oh, sorry, we'll get back to being a good television for a while," and then slowly start slipping back toward the garbage and nonsense. It's not very good, and I'm just like, stick to being good. Stop slipping. And I don't know. With you, they're like they have the benefit of the doubt still. They're slightly losing my benefit of the doubt.
I get that, but I don't know. I guess I'm still riding the highs, so the lows don't depress me as much as they maybe should.
Maybe don't set off the warning signs as much as they maybe should.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm willing to give them the chance. But if this time next year and more shows are like the last two shows and less like the shows before COVID break out, like then we're gonna have an issue.
Yeah, I really do hope they see like the build to Full Gear as a reset, because like they did nothing to build to this pay per view. Let's be real. The build to this pay per view, we said it there. It's kind of stunk. It's kind of been bad, and it's not even been bad. It's been bad in a very weird way, because like I really liked all the Darby Taz team stuff, but it built to a bloody battle royal on this show. I'm like, if there was a hot Darby and Ricky Stark singles match on this show would have desperately needed a match like that, and it would have done really well. And they just didn't put it on the show. They built it, but they didn't put it on the show. And I'm like, what do we do? Same with the frickin' LAX against Best Friends match. It's like if there was a really hot plunder match between those two teams on this show would have been a lot better off. But they put them all in the Battle Royal. And I'm like, okay. And then you look at the matches that are on the show. We're going to throw a Young Bucks match on the show. We have the Battle Royal. We have the 8-man tag with the Dark Order, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it felt like a match straight off of Dynamite. We had a Broken Rules match, we had a Mimosa Mayhem match, we had a Tooth and Nail match. All of this stuff had to make the pay-per-view, and then a main event where a dude couldn't do his finish. And it's like, is this a WWE show? Legitimately, WWE wouldn't have, unless it was Extreme Rules where they were actively trying to put gimmicks on a show. WWE wouldn't have that many gimmicks on a show.
Like some of these gimmicks, like I think they would have been fine. Maybe like one segment on a Dynamite. I don't want them on a pay-per-view. I think we both had the same reaction when we were watching the pay-per-view and they mentioned, oh yeah, and coming up we still have the Mimosa Mayhem match, and we're both like, wait a minute, what? No.
Okay, literally in my head I was like, alright, tag title match, world title match will be out of here by probably a little after 3 hours, maybe like 3:10, 3:15, and it's like, alright, that'll be a tidy enough show. And then it's like, oh, and still coming up next is the Mimosa Mayhem, and I was like, and it wasn't, well, the match was okay. It was fine. We'll get into it. We'll start. Big Swole defeated Britt Baker in a tooth and nail match. People hated this. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I thought it, like, first of all, I think people calling it a cinematic match is kind of dumb. This was basically just like an Attitude Era on location brawl.
Though I will say it had background music, which I'm pretty sure is like the differentiating factor. It's like,
oh, sorry.
if they have the background music during a wrestling match, I believe it slips into cinematic.
Yeah. Okay, then I didn't know that there was specific
there are rules,
clarifications out there. Like, you know how there's like certain things for like what classifies as a specific genre of movie, or like to get classified in a specific way in film. It's just one of those things where it's like it needs to have this amount of background music to this amount of actual wrestling for it to be classified as a cinematic wrestling match.
Yes, but yeah, people hated this, and I didn't particularly like it. I didn't think it was particularly good or like funny, but it was fine. I thought Rebel was very good. Rebel was the star.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty okay. Like, I don't know. I didn't really have a negative or a positive thought about it. I was just like, oh yeah, okay, that happened. Also, it wasn't very long. So, like, it didn't overstay its welcome for me.
Yeah,
but maybe it did for other
even
people.
when it ended, I was like, "Oh, that's it. Oh, good."
Yeah, it was really short. I really don't get how people could be that mad about this segment.
It was just like it was fine. Young Bucks defeated Jurassic Express in, I think, very easily the best match on the show. Far and away the best match on the show. As you said earlier, typical Young Bucks, probably like 2 minutes too long. But other than that, far and away the best match on the show. You were upset that both people in the Voices Wrestling review gave it 4.5 stars.
I didn't want you to call me out on that one. I just thought 4.5 stars was a bit crazy.
I actually agree. I think that I think we're both actually like 3.5. I think we said, which I think is about right.
I think it's 3.5. I think 4.5 is low end match of the year, and I don't think this was a low end match of the year.
Yeah,
but hey, maybe that's just for me. It's one of those ones where like it happens sometimes where it's like, and it happens the other way where you'll be like, yeah, that match was great, 4.5, and then someone will be like, yeah, 3. And it's like, wait a minute.
That's a gigantic. Yeah, it's when there's those gigantic gaps. It's like, wait a minute, wait, who's wrong? And of course, it's never us that's wrong, Liam, because as our podcast creed is, we are never wrong.
Hashtag. But like you can almost understand if like I gave a match 5 stars and then someone gave it like a 1. Mm-hmm. Like I can almost understand that more than me going 3 on something and someone else going 4.5.
Yeah.
Like a 4-star differential, like, oh yeah, that's cool. It's just different opinions. But like 1.5, they're like, that's insane. How could you do that?
Yes, the almost one which makes them number 1 contenders for FTR's tag titles. So they've set those two on, and maybe they'll stretch it out to all or to Full Gear. But they've set those two teams on a collision now. Finally,
I think that's your Full Gear match, which sucks because I kind of wanted that in front of a lot of people. But hey, I suppose you can't hold the match off forever.
Yeah, we've reached the stage where it's like, because to hold that off until you can have a lot of people is still 6 months away, and that would be quite difficult.
You'd have to, like, for real, injure one of the Bucks.
Yeah, well, actually, take out Matt Jackson, let Nick do a singles run for a while, bring back Matt. That actually wouldn't be the worst idea in the world.
See, like, you know, we make the joke about putting us on the book, but look what we were just coming up with stuff. We just saved your Bucks FTR main event 6 months, baby.
Yeah, you can have them spike pile drive him through a table or something, and he dies, and then or onto steel
break
steps.
His back again.
Break his back on speed, like full Dark Knight Rises Bane, just snap him across from their knee.
Do a reverse Shatter Machine, so like you're picking him up, and his back's coming down.
Yeah, onto steps.
Just get crazy with it.
Or
yeah, I was thinking steps too.
Yeah, steps would work.
We're so in sync.
This is upsetting. We had the Casino Battle Royal, which was highlighted by the return of Matt Sydal.
I feel so bad for him. I don't think I've ever felt such like immediate, I don't want to say pity, but like empathy for somebody. I felt so bad because it was like he had a really cool like entrance video and his music was cool and he came in, hit the knee, he's gonna hit the shooting side.
And if you watch it, it's like it's so tragic when you watch, because it's not like he messes. Literally, his foot slips. That's all that happens.
He slips, yeah.
His foot slips while he's doing a shooting star, and he plummets to the ground. Thankfully, relatively safely, because falling on shooting stars could be quite disastrous. And he even clips the rope on the way down with his like right arm, which could have sent him like spiraling in any direction, and thankfully it didn't. And I think he's much more okay than the other Matt is on this show. But oh, the poor guy. It was like, and it feels it's quite funny because it's a guy.
I've watched it so many times and I feel so bad about it
because he eats complete shit. And
he's
not
so
hurt,
much shit on it.
But God, the poor guy. Like legitimately, I don't think you could push him after this. Like it's just like that's what's going to be stuck in people's mind.
I hope this wasn't just a one-time gig. And that's all he's going to be in AEW.
Oh, that would be so tragic.
I really hope he's on Dynamite this week and he just has like a really cool match with Phoenix or something and we just all forget about it.
Oh, the poor guy.
Because like, unlike you, I think you can recover from this just by like being a good wrestler. I think people will forgive it. But it's like, you need to get people not thinking about it as soon as possible. And it really sucks because I feel like Seidel debuting would be a big talking point had this not happened, because like no one mentioned it on any of the scrums or anything that I saw. Like no one even asked Tony like, hey, is Matt sticking around? And I was like, oh, this poor dude. He's I don't know if he'd be sticking around anyway. He's in the ROH tournament, the Pure title tournament, so maybe this was just a one-time deal. But I really hope it isn't. I hope at the very least we see him on Dynamite this week and he can avenge the performance.
And like, yeah, he's been off TV for like nearly 2 years now. His Impact run ended at the end of 2018. So like,
according to JR, he's been gone for like a decade.
Full disrespect to the X Division Championship, but and like, so like he's been off the radar for the best part of 2 years. He comes back, it's a big return, music hits, he eats shit on a shooting star, and that's as you said, I feel very bad for him. It's like, no, Matt.
I wish Seidel the very best in that he gets a chance to come back from this. You didn't like this Battle Royal at all.
I thought it was fine. It was a Battle Royal. It was every Battle Royal ever. It was okay.
I think it was a vast improvement over the first one. I think having every group get a little entrance was such a lifesaver.
They should have banned that format, though. That format is so stupid.
I maybe like switch to 3 people or something, so you can actually have a bit more control over what's going on, because you get so many people in the ring so quickly when you go 5, 5, 5. But I don't know. I like a Battle Royal. I like a Royal Rumble. I like Will Hobbs.
Yeah, the only thing aside from Matt Sydal that I will remember from this match is Will Hobbs had a good showing. I want them to turn the FTW title into a Haas division.
That seems like where it's going though, right?
Yeah, just Archer and Hobbs and Cage having cool matches. Wardlow, throw him in there. Brody Lee,
Luchasaurus.
take the dumb other belt off Brody Lee, put him in here, having cool Haas matches. Yeah, just do that with the FTW belt.
Mr. Grimm, Luther,
the Japanese deathmatch legend.
Yeah, he was on this show.
Oh yeah, he did. He was in this match.
No,
he was on the pre-show.
The pre-show.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, him and Serpentico.
Did they have a good match?
They're doing it.
No, that was Joey Janela.
It was a tag match. It was Janela and Sonny Kiss versus Serpentico and Dr. Luther.
Was it? I thought it was a singles match.
Yeah. No, it was a tag match.
It was just Joey Janela. They announced it as Joey Janela. Did you watch it?
No.
Are you sure? Because it was announced as a Janela against Serpentico match.
Oh, it was a singles match. I saw all 4 of them and assumed it was a tag.
Oh no. Oh yeah, they're a team now. That is a thing from Dark.
Yeah, that's why. Because see, as someone who's up with the Dark lore, I knew that they were a team, so I assumed it was a tag.
Final 2 were Lance Archer, Eddie Kingston. Lance Archer won.
Our two picks.
Yes, when you were like, I think Kingston's gonna win. It's like, because you were watching this on a slight delay actually. So
I said I hoped Kingston won. He was my pick. I didn't think he was actually gonna, but I was like, hey, fuck it, let's go Kingston.
Yeah, you were watching this about half an hour behind, which was very funny to see your like Matt Sydal, no reaction in real time.
Because you told me that something bad happens, and I was like, it hasn't happened yet. It has to be something to do with the last person that comes out.
And it was very bad. It certainly lived up to my hype.
I still feel bad. I can't shake the feeling. I feel so bad for the dude.
Do you think Archer winning tipped the hand that Moxley was winning too much?
I think... I never thought MJF was winning.
Neither did I. People were like, oh, this match is a toss-up. It's like, John Moxley's retaining. Come on.
No, this didn't feel like... I think putting the belt on MJF would have been a massive mistake. Like, that's not something you do now. This felt like a gimme title defense to me. But maybe that's just because, we're not the MJF stans.
No, we're not.
Maybe the MJF stans thought that he was winning for sure.
But like even the Voice of Wrestling preview were like, it's a toss-up. I remember I think Joe mentioned like, do they have the guts?
We're just taking shots.
Do they have everyone else on that podcast network we're never wrong. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna say we should write everything. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Once you never commit to firm predictions, that you can never be wrong. That's the way it works.
That's why Liam's Lock of the Week is left. Because despite the fact that they were all completely true.
Especially the one in the NXT main event we'll definitely talk about.
It would have been better if my idea went through.
They might still do it next week, to be fair.
To be fair, I have messages. I did predict them doing 2 people drawing and having another match. And what else did I had another one today on this show. What was it? The Hangman stuff.
Oh, that Kenny will look at him and look sad and mean and storm off.
Yeah, I said he would tease beating him up and then he would storm off. I'm pretty good at this stuff, guys.
Matt Hardy defeated Sammy Guevara in a Broken Rules match, in which...
Did he?
Yeah, he won!
This... Dude, when I saw that drop, I was like... You know when you get, like, that sickening stomach feeling for somebody else, and you're just like, oh...
It was very nice because they climbed to the top of the forklift that we've seen recently, or the scissors lift, I guess it is. And Sammy speared Matt off of it through 2 tables. They overshot the tables, and Matt smashed his head off the concrete. And he very clearly was in no condition to continue competing because they tried to continue, and like Matt was trying to get up, and he was like pulling Sammy's tights down, desperately trying to get to his feet.
That was when I was like, this guy's like dead. Is when like he was trying to like drag Sammy and he fell over Sammy. That's like and then when they kept going, like when they had done like the little doctor check and then they went to the scaffolding, I was like, oh, is Matt okay? Because at that point he must have like shaken it off a little bit, like obviously not a ton, but a little bit. Because when he was moving up to like take him to the scaffold for the spot, I was like, oh, Matt's moving fine now. But, so I was really confused about, like, is it a work? Is it a not? And then it's like, it really seems like that was a bad decision in retrospect.
Like, it would be one thing if they're like, go out there, hit him with a twist of fate on a chair, we'll count him out. Because, like, the stipulation is if Matt loses, he's gone. So, what they should have done was just call it a no contest. Like, no one would have questioned. The dumbest people on earth probably would have questioned it. Who gives a shit about them?
I saw one person in Rebby Sky's goddamn Twitter replies. She made a post where she like posted her text to Matt about what when it was going on, and someone was like, "Well, Rebby, just so you know, if he had have lost, he would have had to leave AEW forever. So they had to go back and finish the match."
Oh,
and I was like, "What are you, stupid, man?" Like, you're clearly tone deaf, but also, like, it's wrestling.
You could just say, it's a no contest. Like, you could just say those
or
words.
You could just have Matt leave for 6 months. You could just have Matt leave for 6 months and come back. Like, which he probably should leave and have, like, some time off, man. He's had a rough go of it lately.
Yeah. Oh, like this... the decision to let him climb a scaffold it's really inexcusable. Like it's completely negligent to allow him to climb a scaffold after that. And if you watch back, there's a moment where Sammy tries to like keep climbing and Matt reaches out to him to like stabilize himself, and Sammy has to kind of grab onto him before Matt just pushes him. And it's like, just like, no, just call it no. You did it right, you know? He got hurt and you stopped the match. You did it right. And then you sent him back out there. I don't care if it turns out it's like, oh, he just got his bell wrong and he has no concussion or something. That he wasn't all there, and he very clearly wasn't all there. And you send him back out there to climb 10 feet up a scaffold to push Sammy Guevara down through a freaking crash mat. It's like, that's... Don't do that. Don't do that.
He should have just, like, if you wanted to have him do a big spot to end it, just have him throw Sammy off of it. He doesn't need to climb anything. Like, you're already on a stage. Just have him go, whee! Like, it just felt like there was a level to it where you could have gone, alright, this is the situation we have. Matt, like, because I don't know, I'm not there. Maybe Matt's going, I want to finish it or some shit. And, like, you're just like, alright, fine, just throw him off. Just throw him off, but don't go up the thing. Like, there's a middle ground between the one and what they did. I feel like it was weird for them to just go to the exact finish regardless, and then they couldn't even deliver on it because Matt was so fucked up. But
like, if they wanted to, just send
just
him
feels
to the
bad.
ring. Just like go to the ring, put a chair on his neck, hit a twist of fate. We'll count him out. You know, don't climb anything, for God's sake. Matt wins. He's still in AEW. I would give out about the
Maybe
finish.
Matt should take some time off, though.
Matt should have been winning this match anyway.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Matt isn't doing a lot for me.
Hikaru Shida defeated Thunder Rosa, retained the AEW World Women or the AEW Women's Championship, which may be the end of Thunder Rosa. She is still an NWA employee, but this was a real good match. I think I preferred the Penelope Ford match, which is bizarre to say, but both were really good matches. Shida's like, I really wish they pushed Shida as a star on the. People be like, she wins her matches. It's like, yes, she wins her matches, but she is never a featured part of this show, and she should be, because she's one of the best wrestlers on this show, but she's never treated like it.
Yeah, she wins her matches, but she also appears in the crowd holding the belt.
And when she wrestles, it's 2 minutes long, and she never has important matches on Dynamite, and she just comes and goes and disappears for long periods in any meaningful way. And sure, she wins her matches, good for her, but she's not featured. She might be. I'd even like struggle to say she's pushed, because she's clearly the fourth of the champions in terms of like the degree to which she's put in the show, the degree to which she's treated as important, and she's probably like the first of the champions in terms of like talent. So actually feature Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, I also feel there's a problem with the women's division where a lot of the time they just don't set anything up once they complete their story. It's like, they'll do a little, like, and that's not even a big feud. They'll do, like, 3 weeks worth of stuff to build a match at a pay-per-view, then the champion will win, and then nothing. It's like, how are we supposed to get amped up and hyped for Sheeta when she'll now, like, disappear for 2 weeks, and then she'll come and she'll beat some nobody, and then someone will get 2 wins, and then they'll face her at Full Gear.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a way to get behind a star. You need to... you just had Ivelisse and Diamante win the tag thing, right? Mm-hmm. Why couldn't they just come out and like attack Shida after the match or something? And then you have 2 challenges set up for Shida right there, and it's her continuing to be on TV with a continuing story. You could even, like, if you have Thunder Rosa for some more dates, boom, you have like the champions versus the 2 people who aren't the 2 challengers. Like, that's the thing right there. It just feels like you could have done something. I think that's my problem with AEW in a lot of places, is it feels like you could have done something, but you were just either too lazy to, or you just decided for some reason to just do the most basic thing possible.
Yeah. There's just like, stuff just happens. It's like they never build anything. It's
a lot of cop-outs.
And I always use the example of Hangman and Kenny's title defenses, because I think it's the perfect example, where they had a ton of those title defenses after they beat the Young Bucks. They beat everybody in the division, but none of those matches were made feel important. Maybe the best friends won a little, but other than that, the rest of them were just like, Kenny and Hangman have a title match next week. They're defending the belts against these 2, against the Dark Order, against
the Natural Nightmares,
against the Jurassic Express. They just did all those matches for the sake of doing those matches. And like, which is fine, I guess, but they never made them feel meaningful. They never made them feel like important title defenses. They never built up the challengers. A lot of the time it's like, why are the number 3 contenders getting a title match? What's happening here? And it's like, and that, I think that has pervaded the entire show through the summer. There's a lack of purpose. Like, so many people on this show just do not have meaningful purpose.
It's funny because, like, this is the exact thing we used to give out to NXT for, and we used to praise AEW for not doing.
Or like
at some points they had so much purpose, they had people in 2 feuds at once.
Yeah. Like, not just like half the roster had like 2 feuds running at once.
I don't know, man. I really hope. It does kind of feel to me that after this show, the Full Gear is going to be like a little bit of a reboot, like. Similar into the, when the Dark Order did their big debut and they rebooted it the next week and AEW was good for a bit. I feel like we're doing another one of those.
It shouldn't have to get to that, though. It shouldn't have to get to, this thing was kind of bad, fix it. It's like, why do we have to do this cycle every time?
Well, it's just like, can we start learning instead of just adapting?
And people, there's an excuse that always rolls out that I don't buy. It's like, oh, they're a young company. It's like, they used to do this good. It'd be one thing if it was bad and getting better, you know? It's like, it started terrible, but it's incrementally getting better as they learn. It's like, it started pretty good, then they got pretty bad, then it got really good, then it got kind of and then it's the summer, it's been like, ooh, slowly going downhill. And it's like, oh, it's a young company. It's like, no, they're getting worse. Don't give them the excuse of it's a young company.
It's a young company only works if, like, they weren't already, like, hitting old strides.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they know what to do. They did it. They did it quickly. And, like, there was a time where they are a young company was a valid thing, and that was when they were, like, you know, doing 20-minute Hangman Kip Sabian matches and random, like, Hangman in a 4-way and shit like that. And they did learn from that, I feel. I don't know. Things are weird now. I just want them to be better.
Speaking of better, the Dark Order lost to the wonderful team of the Nightmare family and Scorpio Sky. And is Matt Cardona in the Nightmare family? That's, I guess, a loose association at the moment.
He's Nightmare family adjacent.
Yes. In a match that was apparently 15 minutes, and I refuse to believe it wasn't any longer than, like, 30.
It was so long.
Like, this match should have been Dustin against Brody. Let's be real.
I get what they wanted to do. They didn't want it to be a 1-week title build.
But then they did. So Cody got jumped like 2 weeks ago at this stage. But like the title match on Wednesday is a 1-week title build.
Yeah, but it's not for a pay-per-view.
So you're gonna do a dumb match that means nothing. That's too long.
It's. I would disagree and say that's like a 3-week build because like you'd count the Cody stuff, the Dark Order getting run off, and now this.
I don't know. Like, after Cody got killed, you could have had Dustin come out and cut a fiery, passionate promo, and then Brody's like, you want a shot? You got it. I'll kill you too. And then you do a pay-per-view match, and people care about it.
This whole thing was very wonky, and I didn't really like any of it.
Yes, this was a long match.
One thing I really didn't like was goddamn Brandy Rhodes. Coming out to this, we're going to defend my husband. We're going to fight for him, get revenge. And she comes out smiling and taunting them like, haha, we're going to fight you now. It's like, that's not the attitude you should have. Not to mention her fucking bizarre dark promo she cut.
It's a good thing I don't watch it. That's the reason I didn't watch the pre-show, actually, because the pre-show was trying to trick me into watching dark content. I see through your ways, AEW.
But yeah, Brandy's really like not great.
And like this is like her 4th character reboot since the start of AEW. Pick a lane, Brandy.
Or just stop.
Yeah.
Give up on the Brandy experiment and just let her be a backstage person who comes out with Cody, because she's really good at that. I think she adds to Cody's title matches because she helps garner sympathy for Cody.
I think she's a much better manager for Cody than Arn Anderson has been.
Yeah, like, but I just, I'm done with it. Like, this was the show where I'm just started realizing, like, okay, the company's been around long enough now. Some people just didn't work. We can start phasing them out or trying something completely different with them if they haven't already had 4 characters.
Indeed. Brody had the match won. He basically had Dustin beat, where he tagged in Colt, who was wearing Dark Order colored gear, by the way, if you'd noticed. Went for a moonsault, missed. Dustin rolled him up, pinned him, and then Brody was very mad that he set up Colt to win, and then Colt went on to lose.
Understandably.
So he is mad at his pal. FTR defeated Kenny Omega and Hangman Page to win the AEW World Tag Team titles. It took like 90 seconds after this match. This match was so underwhelming that it took me like 90 seconds after the match to be like, oh, they're champions now. This was a title change.
Yeah. This was a whole thing, wasn't it?
You liked this match more than I did. I thought Hangman was really good in this match. I thought Hangman brought energy and urgency. Kenny was fine.
And Long Boys.
And then FTR were just sleep-inducingly boring in this match. It's like, you're so dull, and it's so like if you go back and listen to the I don't remember what episode had the FTR against Butcher and the Blade match, but if you go back and listen there, it's like, oh, they looked awesome in that match. They looked like sharp. They had a ton of snap to them. They were working with urgency. They were working with that sense of, again, purpose. To go back to, I think the most important thing, my word of the day is purpose, Liam. And then this match, which was nearly 30 minutes long and could have been 15, And FTR took control after the opening exchanges, and it just grinded to a soul-crushingly sleepy halt. And FTR eventually won, and I just could not care by the end of it.
This was the famous AEW tag match double heat that we love to see. FTR, I thought they were... See, I say I like this match. Like, you gotta realize I still was 3 1/4, 3 1/2. It's not like I was up there wooting and cheering for it. I thought I liked Kenny's performance a bit better than you. I didn't think... Well, the way you were describing it to me, I think he kind of sleptwalked through it. For me, I think he was more on than that. But I do agree that Hangman was really the star of this show. FTR, I go back to working like the Bucks. You're much more interesting that way. Your matches with SCU was another really good one, that I wish was more like that. Tully, I don't even like very much. I don't think he adds much at all. The whole presentation of FTR, I think, is kind of shitty. But hey, let's move on to maybe Hangman and Kenny doing single stuff, because I think we kind of need it.
Yeah,
we need a bit of that. We need those guys to go in and start doing some singles matches. I'd love to see Hangman start going in there with Lance Archer and stuff.
Yeah. What a disappointment this match was.
Yeah, this match should have been as good as the Revolution match.
Which I would first, that match had a super hot crowd, so I wouldn't have expected to get, if it got to that levels, I would have been supremely impressed. But I expected this match to be really good, and if I were to give this match a star rating, it would be 2 3/4, and 2.5 of that is Hangman. So well done to the rest of me. I'm just why? I think the Butcher of the Blade match and the SCU match that FTR had, both of which were really good. I think the common denominator over there is both those matches were around 10 minutes, which did not give FTR the opportunity to sit on people for 15 minutes of a match. It had the double heat. When they went to the heat on, I think it was Kenny second, and I was like, no, do not do this, because the match was already, they did the hot tag to come back, the match was already dragging. It's go home, just go home, guys. And then it's oh, they're going to another heat. No, just do not do it.
I had that moment when they hit Hangman with the first pile driver, and I was all right, 1, 2, he kicked out, and they just did it again and beat him.
That was such a weird
why did you need to do that?
Yeah, why did you have him kick out of your move just so you could hit the move again? Do something else. I guess it's just because
they want to sell that Hangman's super strong and fiery, but it's
have Hangman have a little hope spot. Have Hangman fight, and then you hit him with a shatter machine.
Fight back a bit. Yeah,
and he
starts gearing up, fighting, and then. But you know what? No one actually cares to hear about us talk about the match. They want us to talk about the Long Boys.
Oh,
that's the reason people are here. My man wore pants. My man looks like he's about to team with Bandito. He's got the exact same pattern. He's got the same tassels. Or what did you call it? Fringe? Is it fringe? Not quite tassels.
I would have called them tassels. I think they qualify as tassels.
Because isn't fringe the cowboy thing?
I'm not a cowboy. I don't know.
Damn. I don't know why, but that really made me it was you're just admitting that you're not a cowboy. It's gosh, I guess I never thought about it. But I like the Long Boys on Adam. Adam's always had really good gear.
Whoever makes it does a good job. But clearly his millennial anxiety has reduced him to being self-conscious about his calves. So he's I must cover them up.
Well, remember when he tried the black wrist tape for 1 week, and he's no, I don't like that anymore. No. The graphical bits for Hangman are one of the most out of place things that I still like.
They're funny, you see. That's the thing. They're actually funny. So that's the reason I'm on board with them.
Did you see the one for this?
No, what
week?
was it?
It was in quotes, I don't care what goes on the graphic anymore.
Which I'd like to think it literally always comes from. It's like, hey man, what are we going to put in your graphic this week? And he comes up with something, and now it's like, legitimately, I don't care what goes on the graphic anymore.
My favorite two were before this were trying out black wrist tape for this week to see how it goes, and the next week going, didn't like the black wrist tape, and he's had the white wrist tape back.
He's the best thing.
That's what I like.
I like Hangman.
Hangman, I legitimately think he might be the best babyface in the world right now.
Yeah, he's up there.
And he's quickly turning into one of my favorite wrestlers.
Which is the reason I don't want you to... I'm glad that it looks like they're probably going to turn Kenny in the end, which I think is a weird admission that they bungled him. The fact that they, like, AEW has to turn Kenny Omega heel within the first year. It's like, oh, you did a bad job with him. But,
yeah, but I think, let's be real, like, him being a heel is going to get just as many positive reactions as him being a face.
Well, that's the bad thing. You don't want him to get positive reactions.
Yeah, but let's be real, he's going to be a cool heel, like... The people who hate Kenny are going to already hate him the entire time. The people that like Kenny aren't going to suddenly start going, I don't like Kenny.
Yeah, if you're going to turn, at least they don't seem to be turning Hangman, which pleases me.
And yeah, after the match we had the little segment where he was going to hit him and then he didn't, and then Hangman was like, hug me, and he's like, no, just let him fall, eat shit on the ground.
Why was Kenny
and
so
then
mad?
He storms off. I guess he blamed Hangman for the loss.
But he hit him with the V-trigger.
Yeah. And he was like begging. I actually really loved that part of the match where he hit Hangman with the V-trigger and he was like holding his legs. So he's like, ow, my legs that are so broken, I just need you really hard. And he's just gripping at the tights of Hangman, was like, please keep fighting for us. He's like begging the dude to, like, I'm sorry I did that to you.
That's honestly, that's my biggest complaint about this. I'm like, why is Kenny the one mad? Because Kenny's always been like, I de-escalate this. I'm the cool guy who removes the tension. And like, you need him. He lost. And then he's like desperately clinging to you and you're like, I'm done with this. It's like, why are you done with this?
I think he's a wacky, crazy guy, and he lives by his whims.
Alex Marvez was interviewed by, other way around. That would be much more interesting. Chris Jericho was interviewed.
He was
by
so
Alex
mad
Marvez.
at him in this segment.
And yeah, he had the microphone down too low, and Chris was like, "Lift the microphone up, you idiot!"
Like, that has to be super embarrassing. Marvez, that was literally your one job. Was to hold the microphone in front of his face.
He wouldn't cut it in the WWE world of my guest at this time. Microphone in front of face.
But like, Jericho looked legitimately upset at that.
Yeah, like that was Jericho legitimately getting mad at him.
That was Jericho like, be a professional, man. What are you doing? Where's Golden Boy?
I miss Golden Boy.
He's still on the roster page.
Because they posted a clip from All Out last year. Yeah, last year when Jericho won the belt and Golden Boy was on commentary. It's like, oh yeah, Golden Boy, he was good. Why don't we have him
He
here?
had so much potential.
They've had Jim Ross
He
there
had so
instead.
much potential.
It's so important we have Jim Ross there. Instead of having AEW have its own unique, distinct voice, we have to have voices from the past.
Maybe, we didn't even talk about the great Jim Ross bumble of this week.
Which one? His wanting to see wardrobe malfunctions, or
So creepy, you fucking pervert, man.
He's horny on main all the time, Liam, and
howdy.
He's the new horny on main is being horny at work apparently. So
howdy on main.
Can you imagine if you're Anna Jane, you're watching this match back, and it's like you hear Jim Ross say something like that? How creepy!
Your first pay-per-view. I'm going to go and show all my family it's me on pay-per-view for the first time.
Jim is there talking about
old
wanting to see your boobs.
Drunk fuck is just going, I want to see some titties.
Chris Jericho lost to Orange Cassidy in a Mimosa Mayhem match after he was pushed into a bath of orange juice.
This was another one where I saw people going like, this is 50-50, but I thought I always thought Jericho was losing this. I was like, the whole reason they're doing a match where it's not a pinfall finish is because Jericho's losing.
Even though this match also had pinfall finishes, which was...
Yeah, but it wasn't going to end in pinfall.
No. I was like, why did you do that? But yeah. This was I reject the premise. I think the premise is stupid. Like why? This is the semi-main event of a major pay-per-view, and he's being thrown in a tank of orange juice. But the match it was fine. But
I remember
I just don't care.
I was watching Jericho's entrance, and I was like, "Oh, remember where you were last All Out?"
He won the belt in the main event.
And then like, this match is a stupid concept. But I think they really did the best that they could do within the constraints. Because I liked the work in the match. I didn't like the match type. I liked the match.
See, that makes it worse for me. That's like the Seth Rollins having a good match against Rey Mysterio in an eye for an eye match. It's like, yes, these two good wrestlers have a good wrestling match.
A perfect equivalent.
It's the exact same thing. It's like the two wrestlers in the match are perfectly capable of having a really good wrestling match. It's just you've given them a stipulation that is inherently silly and undermines everything they do. So it's like, why are we doing this?
I don't know, man. I just hope this is the end of it, and now Jericho can move on to something else.
And then our main event, MJF defeated Jon Moxley to retain the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
MJF defeated Jon Moxley?
Yes, he's new champion. It's a whole thing. It's the finish. It's the finish you have to pay an extra $10 for. It's a microtransaction where you got to see MJF win the belt. Imagine if they did that.
I saw the wrong clip.
Jon Moxley defeated MJF to retain the AEW World Championship in a match that I would have liked if it was 10 minutes short, especially on this show that like has already gone too long. They went 23 minutes. It's like, guys, do 15. Just do 15. You're fine if you do 15. Yeah. It's okay. No one will be mad. People will probably be happier. I think they had a perfectly acceptable main event. People were like, it's a 4-star match. I'm like, there was parts of it.
It's another 3.5.
I was like 3.25. And like, I think there were parts of this match that were really good, and then parts that it was just too long otherwise. And they probably could have.
It dragged.
Yeah, if they tightened it up and got rid of some of the fluff and maybe no MJF heat segment, this would have been a better match. But actually, if you listen very closely to Jim Ross on commentary during this match, the entire match, he's like, "Oh, MJF is proving himself at this level. You know, I'm so impressed with how good he's been in this match." It's like, oh, you're clearly setting him up to lose. They're like doing the thing where it's like, oh, he's valiant and great in defeat. Like if you like, I actually had this thought during the match. It's like, oh, I didn't think MJF was winning, but listening to Jim Ross on commentary in this match, he's clearly like trying to sell the idea that he looked great in defeat long before he ever loses, which I guess is fine. But if you listen closely, you're like, oh, he kind of tips his hand. But yeah, Moxley or Wardlow threw the diamond ring into the ring, but didn't throw it to MJF. The ref.
Alright, first of all, this was all MJF's fault.
Yes.
Like, he can't get mad at Wardlow that he couldn't catch the ring.
He's going to get mad at Wardlow that he couldn't catch the ring.
That's completely your fault.
Yes, Maxwell. So, yeah.
Michael.
Which referee was distracted with Wardlow, which allowed Jon Moxley hit the move that was banned, which I actually kind of like as a finish.
Yeah, that's exactly what he should do. It's Jon Moxley.
But I like it in the sense that, but I'm actually not going to like the promos MJF are going to cut. It's going to cut. It's like, yeah. He did the move.
As soon as that happened, I was like, he's going to go. He cheated.
But
he cheated.
I like that MJF was beaten by Mox's best move. I think that makes MJF look better than Mox beating him with something different.
I also like. I think people are really quick to jump on a company for not delivering on a stipulation, even though that was the entire point of the stipulation. It's like people were like, "Oh, you promised a match with no finisher, and then he hit the finisher to win. That's stupid." And it's like, well, just because it's the stipulation of the match, like you should be rooting for him to. You should be rooting for the babyface to be like, "Fuck it and do it anyway." Like not get DQ'd because you don't want him to look like an idiot, but you should be rooting for him to say like fuck, like even if he beat him with a normal move, you want him to hit the fucking paradigm shift after the match. Like that was the whole build of this, but he's gonna hit the move eventually. I just don't like this, like, and it's not even just particularly with this match. It's a wrestling thing in general now, where it's like they said they were gonna do this one thing and then they swerved us, and it's like, well, yeah, that's kind of what wrestling is. There's always gonna have that element there. I was going to say, if it's not overplayed, but yeah, that's fine.
That's I think where the problem comes in, where like people's rejection of being tricked basically constantly is like being bait and switched and like setting up stipulations and not honouring them. And that's happened over and over again in wrestling over particularly the last 20 years.
But the problem with that is not deflecting, but you're placing your you're placing your issues with a previous relationship on your new relationship.
But what? But if this company doesn't adhere to stipulations, aren't they just the same?
Yes, but if they do it once in a blue moon, that's fine. If they do it every single show, then yeah, maybe we have an issue.
Yeah, MJF won with the paradigm shift. I'm sure.
It just seems like a weak
freaking
dunk.
John Moxley won with the paradigm shift. Clearly, I wanted MJF to win this match.
But you get what I mean, though. Like, it just feels like an empty, hollow Twitter dunk.
Yeah, but I get where it comes from, though. I do get where it comes from. I don't care. Like, as I said, I think
I get
Moxley,
the worry. I think the people they're jumping to it too quickly.
Yeah, like Cody hasn't broken his stipulation yet.
No, they just made a whole new title for him.
Moxley is still champ. We have Brody Lee against Dustin Rhodes with the TNT title on Dynamite.
And we'll hear from John.
We'll hear from John. And I'm sure we'll hear from Maxwell as well.
So, Archer Moxley.
Yes, which do you think that's not a Full Gear match? I think that's a TV match.
I would like for it to be a Full Gear match.
So would I.
think that'd be a much better pay-per-view main event than MJF.
Like we have a shorter build to Full Gear. We only have 2 months.
When I saw that, I was so happy. I was like, yes, a pay-per-view every 2 months is exactly what you should be doing right now.
Yeah, I think like that's the problem. They didn't have a July pay-per-view, so they went from May to frickin'... And like people are like... I find that even weirder, though, that, like, you had 4 months to build up this pay-per-view. You had 4 months. You've had from Double or Nothing in June to All Out in September to get me to care about this show, and you didn't even try. What are you doing? You had 4 months.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the best built show this year. I will co-sign on that one.
Oh, which brings us to the best built show of all time. Actually, no, in the middle, Liam, of course, we're halfway through the show. We're not halfway through the show. We're probably like 3/4 of the way through the show because we're already an hour and a half in. But for our loyal listeners, we, of course, need the secret hashtag, which you get every week on Dynamite. So if you tweet the hashtag War Games Never Wrong, WARGAMES or WORONG, as I can't spell wrong. If you tweet the words War Games Never Wrong, hashtag War Games Never Wrong, it has to be a hashtag. I will reply to that tweet, and Liam will allow you to follow him.
Whoa,
listen, I didn't get your sign off on this, but don't worry about it. Liam will let you follow him if you're but you have to be the first person. It's only the one. It's the first person that tweets hashtag War Games Never Wrong.
Right.
We'll get a follow from Liam
agree.
and a reply from me. This is our
wait, I have to follow them now?
No, other way around. No, yeah, you know what I mean.
Okay, the first person who does it is allowed to follow me.
Yes.
The next 9 people who do it will receive a Skype phone call from Garrett anytime they want for a minimum of 10 minutes.
No, I will reply to their tweets.
From his own account,
Yes.
not the War Games account.
You will get the personal rub from me, Garrett Kidney. If you tweet.
And the one lucky person who will find the golden hashtag gets a retweet from a certain pro wrestling company account.
No.
You just gotta find it, and we're not gonna tell you what it is. It's War Games Never Wrong 2.
NXT began with actually a really fun street fight. I love this street fight as our Breezango and Isaiah Scott defeated Legado.
I have a WWE encyclopedia bit, damn it.
Oh, sorry. Yes, there are our other halfway through the show bit. Sorry about that.
The problem is the encyclopedia's in another room.
All right, make up a bit of trivia. You don't need to just pretend the book is there. I picked page 34. Liam, what's on page 34?
Okay, so probably shit. Okay, this person debuted in jumping through the ring in a cage match.
Is it Rey Mysterio?
No, did he do that?
He jumped off a cage on his first show. I
think. He tore through the bottom of the ring during a cage match.
Is it the Big Show?
It is the Big Show. I went for the B because I thought B would be pretty close to the front of the book because it went 34.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, that's the bit this week. This bit's already fallen apart.
Look
Wait, I'm gonna do another one. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna Google a random person and go to their Wikipedia. Okay, boom. I picked someone. I gotta find a piece of trivia. Vamp, damn it, Vamp.
Yeah, NXT is coming up, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it with many words. Mauro is gone. That's a thing, which I don't think we talked about. Mauro is done with WWE.
We should talk about that because he was a very big part of the show.
I will miss the Mauro quotes. I'll be honest. There weren't actually many of the Mauro quotes deteriorated in quality because we haven't mentioned them in a while. It's because there hasn't been good ones. It's like he was even phoning in the Mauro quotes when that's when you know there's something wrong, when Mauro is phoning in the Mauro quotes.
Why couldn't he?
Have you Googled
why couldn't
something
it be
yet?
Jim Ross? Yeah, I have some, and I'm just trying to find a piece of trivia. Who left WWE on September 15th, 2004, when his steroid usage came to light following a staph infection?
Kevin Nash.
Close. Jamie Noble.
Oh,
That's the bit.
what a bit.
I miss Mauro. It should have been Jim Ross.
I don't love Vic Joseph. He's fine.
I don't mind Vic Joseph.
He's all right.
Although his flip-flopping on Robert Stone's issues is,
problematic.
not cool. It's not cool.
NXT opened with a street fight as Breezango and Isaiah Scott defeated Legado Fantasma in a frankly ridiculous match that I enjoyed a great deal.
It was pretty dumb. I loved it.
It's like jumping off of forklifts. I will say, they did like two of the best spots of the match. They did like a double coast to coast into a trash can during the break and a table bump during the break. It's like, why are you doing the cool spots during the break?
I wonder if they knew that they were at break.
This was a taped show. The finish got out like 4 hours in advance. So the show was taped earlier that day. They for some reason decided to
I didn't know that.
decided to put cool spots in the break. But what are you doing? What are you doing, people who edit NXT and these people are doing double coast to coast and you decide to go to break during it? But nonetheless, really fun, man. Honestly, this was the most fun I've had watching NXT in like ages.
Garrett, is a double coast to coast a coast to coast to coast to coast?
Yes, it's all the coasts. That's from the Pacific coast to the Atlantic coast to the Indian Ocean coast. To the Irish coast. There you go. Those are the 4 coasts.
Sick.
But yeah, this is we've gone too deep. The good thing is
we're like further into this podcast with 3 shows than we were with 5.
Listen, that's because they were AEW shows and not NXT shows. So.
That's a burning indictment.
2-hour show. Yeah, fun match. I like this match a lot. NXT should be more fun like this.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Candice LeRae defeated Casey Catanzaro as they did a big video package where they were like, we're friends, but we're not friends anymore. And LeRae is like, after the match, he's like, it's actually funny. She was like, I was very upset about the things Candice said. I want to be friends. And the crowd were like booing her and like, we don't believe you. And she's like, no, guys, I'm being sincere.
The crowd that they control.
The crowd that they control don't buy this. So, like, if freaking Tegan Knox buys it, she looks like an utter idiot. She's been invited to the Gargano home for dinner.
So what do you... I don't know what I don't... The Gargano stuff's so weird, man. And it's not good. Which doesn't help. I just... Like, what is their gimmick?
That they're weird nerds who have weird home lives.
That seems like everyone on the NXT roster. What are you talking about?
That's true. Rhea Ripley challenged Mercedes Martinez to a cage match. If you notice, the traditional I'm leaving NXT match, blow-off match, is a cage match. So, Rhea Ripley leaving?
Why the... Maybe who... There's so many fucking stipulations.
They love throwing them out.
We gotta have a street fight. We gotta have an Iron Man.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention. Why the hell was that opening match a street fight? Like, why? Why were these people having a street fight?
I don't know, man. Why? I think asking why is a lot of what I do, like in general, when it comes to NXT.
And like Ripley and Martinez haven't even had a singles match yet, and they're skipping straight to the cage match.
I don't know. It kind of just feels like they're chasing ratings at this point. Like, please watch us, please.
Yeah, that is what they're doing. Because they don't want to do the work to make people care anymore, apparently.
Do the work, like Cody Rhodes says.
Indeed. Timothy Thatcher defeated Bronson Reed after interference from...
Oh man, I love that big Bronson Reed push.
He's losing to Tim Thatcher. Tim Thatcher can't... This is one of those finishes where it's like, Tim doesn't win clean. Tim doesn't look good.
Tim Thatcher.
Timothy Thatcher doesn't look good because he doesn't win clean, and Reed doesn't look good because he loses. And who gives a shit about Austin Theory? And it's just like, I'm no longer on the big Bronson. Actually, no, he's the colossal Bronson Reed now. He has a new nickname.
What the fuck? Is that has to be like a Vince thing, right? He saw a thick boy and he saw big Bronson energy, and he's like, no,
he's colossal.
He's colossal.
Yeah, stupid. I don't care. I don't even remember.
It was a pretty decent. It was a decent enough match, but it's like, yeah, okay.
And then we're done. It's the Iron Man match.
Yeah, man. This is the kind of NXT I like. 3 matches and we're out, baby.
As Adam, it was 2-2-1-1 as Adam Cole and Finn Balor both had 2 falls each. I thought
people shit on this, but I was kind of into that, to be honest. I really don't mind that. Just sets up another big match.
Just don't.
I get why. It's one of those things where I get why people wouldn't like it, but for me, I like it.
I'm on the side of the people who don't like it, but I also don't care enough to be mad at it. It's one of those things where it's like, please don't waste my time. Don't do an hour. Also, it makes like the NXT management look stupid. That they're like, we're doing this match to crown a new champion, so we want to make sure there's a definitive winner. So we've set up a match in which not only can there be a draw, there's probably a pretty good chance there's going to be a draw.
I thought they were going to do a 4-way draw. That was my initial thing. And then as I was watching it, I was like, they're going to do it where 2 people win.
I wish they did a 4-way
I'm just
draw.
very thankful that it wasn't... I'm just happy that it wasn't Gargano or Ciampa.
That's true. I thought this match was pretty boring.
Cole and Finn's going to be pretty good, I hope. As far as the match, I liked it more than you. I thought they kept a good pace, which probably wasn't hard to do when you have 4 people, so someone can go out, have a little bit of a rest, come in, do some wrestling, and so forth. Honestly, as far as these, insanely long NXT main events go, this was probably one of the ones I liked more.
See, that was my problem with this match. This match was just a series of 25 different micro singles matches.
But that's kind of what I expected.
Still, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I didn't want to get the stopwatch out and literally count, but I think the time in which there was more than 2 people in the ring was 8 minutes of this 60-minute match, and so it was just 2 people in the ring the entire time.
I would have thought that these 4 would have done more 4-way spots, because I thought they would have had the creativity to do it.
Well, by all accounts, they were told about this match the day of the show, so
that I feel bad for them then.
They didn't have time to come up with shit for all of this, but
yeah, I thought this was fun enough. Honestly, I am better than most of the other NXT TakeOver main events that we've been watching, so I'll take that. I think Balor Cole is the most interesting matchup out of it. I think that means Balor's gonna win.
He should. If it just goes back to Cole, it's like, all right, we're just running on the spot, aren't we?
Yeah, and then also what the fuck are you doing with Balor at that point?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you that I think those, if you're going to do the draw, those are the right 2 people to do the draw with. Finn should win. I thought Finn should win this match. They should just have Kyle turn. They're not gonna have Kyle win the belt. They should have just Kyle turn on frickin' Adam Cole and set up that feud.
They got to get Cole out of here sometime. He can't just stay in NXT forever.
Or maybe he can.
Well, that's Gargano and Ciampa.
That's true. They're just stuck here forever. So that's NXT. There we go. All 6 minutes of the NXT review.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is sure, it didn't take up a lot of time because of what is there to talk about in that main event other than the result? He kicked out of this move. They kicked out of that move. Kicked out of this move. I actually know there was one thing that I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know if this was the end result, but at least before the final pinfall that happened in this match, I thought it was pretty interesting that Ciampa didn't take a fall. Gargano took 2 of them, and Balor took 1. That was interesting.
So you thought they might have been setting up Ciampa as like, I was never pinned kind of thing? But then he was pinned.
Yeah,
so.
maybe. Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was an interesting choice to have Gargano be the guy that takes the most falls in the match. And I really didn't expect Finn to take one either, to be honest. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. Not that it's anything I'll ever watch again, I don't think.
Which is why you're going to pick it for your match of the week. What's your match of the week? All Out doesn't count.
Maybe that 4-way.
I think I'm also going to pick...
What was on that?
The Iron Man match?
On the AEW show that was really... Yeah, the Iron Man, probably, yeah.
It's because, I don't know, the best match on AEW is probably Best Friends against Proud and Powerful, which was pretty good, but nothing special.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, the Iron Man match. What do you think they're going to do with Ciampa, though?
There you go. I don't know. Cross? Oh, no, Cross is dead.
Seem really into it.
Cameron Grimes. Is he a heel? I don't even know.
What is... I don't know anymore. I don't know, man.
Honestly, probably Damian Priest.
Priest's about to do the Thatcher thing.
Who cares? That's a 1-week feud.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Ciampa Priest would probably be pretty good, actually.
Probably the best way you can go with him. But then you have to have him lose another match, which is like... He's such a loser.
Or you put the title on him.
That would really cut the legs out from under Priest, but it's not like he has many legs under him anyway, so
yeah, who cares? I was going to say, it's NXT. Shall we go back a match ago with the Reed and Thatcher thing?
That's true. Show of the week is Impact Wrestling based on our polls.
I legit, as someone who watched all 3, if Impact was my an option, it probably would win.
Because NXT was on Tuesday. Impact Wrestling has 71%, 72% to 28% of our poll with 467 votes. In the other one, it's actually tighter than usual. AEW has 63 to 38 with 43 votes. So Impact is the winner, followed by AEW. But I guess Impact isn't on the remit of this podcast, even though you should be watching it every Tuesday night, 8/7 Central on Access TV, featuring Motor City Machine Guns against the Rascals next week.
In a match booked specifically for me.
Yes, it's a very... and TJP and Chris Bay, which is even more of a Liam match.
A match I specifically asked for.
Yes. But yes, show of the week. What do you pick, Liam? I probably pick NXT because I didn't care much.
I'm picking NXT too.
NXT wins! Yeah! Suck it all out! If you would like to vote in the poll, in favor of Impact Wrestling. You can vote.
Or just vote in whatever poll we decide to put up, because I was real happy with the Impact poll. It got a lot of fun responses.
Memes!
Interaction,
Meme
guys.
polls. Meme polls.
Meme polls. We're just going to replace NXT with Impact once NXT gives up on this war.
Remember to use the hidden hashtag Wargames Never Wrong for your ability to follow somebody on Twitter and replies. If you would like more AEW coverage in your podcasting feed, you can listen to Everything Elite. If you'd like more WWE television show coverage in your podcasting feed, you can listen to Shake Them Ropes. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
Also, for those who were wondering, what will we do if NXT gives up on the war?
That's at the end of the show. That'll be the finale.
We'll just never talk again. It'll be the end of our friendship.
Yes, the friendship will be over, and I will be like, Liam, thanks for talking to me. Bye-bye. And I'll hang up on you on the Skype call, and I'll never speak to you again.
And I'll go, bye.